Best MTSU's rushing defense. Bowling Green had 1 rushing yard Saturday. 1. On 29 carries. That's tremendous, MTSU coach Rick Stockstill said. We dominated them, they had 1 yard rushing. To the Falcons' credit, they did gain 71 yards on the ground. But after 3 sacks and 3 errant snaps, both of which contributed to their 70 rushing yards lost, their net rushing figure shrunk to just 1 yard. It's hard to move the ball when you make a team one-dimensional, Stockstill said. I know they had 3 errant snaps, but we harassed the quarterback unmercifully. It was just relentless with our pressure. Anytime you can rush the ball for more than 200 yards and they have 1 yard rushing, I'd bet on that win every time. Underclassmen doing it all offensively. 9 players logged offensive statistics for MTSU on Saturday, either passing, rushing, or receiving. All 9 were either freshmen or sophomores. For a coach, that's scary, Rick Stockstill said. We played so many young people, but we had a lot of them really step up and play pretty well today. With veterans quarterback Rick Stockstill, wide receiver Richie James and right guard Chandler Brewer all sidelined with injuries, MTSU was forced to start many younger players on offense. It panned out. Altogether, the unit amassed a season-high 533 total yards of offense. We have depth. We have good players that have stepped up tremendously, sophomore quarterback John Urzua said, not just in the offseason, but even these past few weeks. Just the ability to have the kind of confidence that we do in them is huge, and we can take that throughout the rest of the season, if we have to. Rick Stockstill keeping its real. Bowling Green is no Vanderbilt or Syracuse or Minnesota. That much was obvious even before play began Saturday. The Falcons entered the game ranked in the bottom 10 in the nation in points allowed, yards allowed and points scored. Yes, MTSU looked great defensively, and the offense showed serious signs of life after mustering just 3 points in a loss to Minnesota last week. But a lot of it had to do with who MTSU was playing, and its coach was quick to acknowledge that afterward. This is no disrespect to Bowling Green or anybody, but who you played those first 3 games I think has a little bit to do with it, Stockstill said. We looked more evenly matched against Bowling Green, so to speak. You guys don't understand how tough that gauntlet was. I've said that gauntlet thing all week. Those guys who we've had to go against in the first 3 weeks of a season? I know Vandy got beat today, but they were the number 1 defense in the country coming into today. Minnesota was number 10. Syracuse was number 31. So we've gone against some pretty dang good defenses. So I think part of it is that. Worse, John Urzua's fumble. Urzua orchestrated an immaculate opening drive for MTSU that culminated with the home team taking a 7-0 lead. The opening drive of the second half did not follow the same pattern. Urzua, who completed 17 of his 19 first-half passes, threw an incomplete pass on his first toss of the second half. 3 plays later, he botched an exchange on a handoff with running back Brad Anderson, and Bowling Green recovered the fumble. It led to a Falcons field goal. Still, though Urzua's first half looked a lot better than his second, on the whole, he had a career day. He completed 24 of 32 passes for 290 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Tylee's bobble. MTSU's defense had just come up big, forcing Bowling Green into a 4th and 23 with time winding down in the second quarter and the Blue Raiders leading 21-10. But Tylee muffed the ensuing punt, and Cole Coleman recovered for the Falcons at the MTSU 23-yard line with 3:10 left in the half. Fortunately for Lee, MTSU's defense would come up big again. Despite Bowling Green nearly starting its drive in the red zone, the Blue Raiders forced a turnover on downs. The heat temperature Saturday went above 90 degrees in Murfreesboro, while a 6 p.m. kickoff meant it was already starting to cool off by game time. MTSU's Hall of Fame ceremony took place at 3:30 p.m. With the sun beating down on the area outside the Kennan Sports Hall of Fame, where the event took place, many onlookers packed under trees to heighten the shade. I am from Sweden, so I'm not used to this, Andreas Siljeström, a former MTSU tennis player, began his Hall of Fame induction speech. He concluded his speech in similar fashion. "I'm sure I've forgot half of who I have to thank," Silgstrom said, "but I'm going to blame the heat stroke that I'm about to have."